looks like it's 7:05, so I think we're gonna get started. So, if you guys are here, probably means you want to start RecTubing or YouTubing on Rec Room. And a lot of people kind of don't know where to start, or they start and they don't get very far. And so today I'm gonna kind of help guide you along the process of how you can be a successful RecTuber, maybe even one day sit up at a panel RecCon like myself. So, for starters, you need to figure out what sort of content you're making. Rec Room, as a gaming platform, is a bit limited in that capacity, but there are, a couple of staples. If you've been on Rec Room YouTube before, you'll see news channels like BVR, you'll see gaming and streaming like, Harry, Bothia, Soulfox. And so you need to find your place and what you want to do in Rec Room. The key for this is that you want to make sure that you're doing something unique. If you do something which a lot of people do or is overdone, exactly, you want to be original, because otherwise you're just going to get probably overshadowed by a lot better creators. So you need to think about, what makes you unique, what can you offer to the Rec Room community as a creator, and then of course you need to act on that. So you have, your idea, oh, I'm going to start a channel. That's awesome. But, where do you actually begin with that? So first of all, you need video editing and software. That's not too hard. If you're on PC, stuff like OBS for recording is awesome. If you're on, anything else, Quest 2, any console, phone, you're going to have recording on there. Really easy to use. One note I do have is if you're like me and you start out just recording on Quest 2 standalone, you can plug a USB from your headset to your computer and bring video files over to your computer for editing. So just keep that in mind, because that's going to help you a lot if, you want to edit videos. And then for videos, actually editing them, I'm assuming, all of you are pretty reasonable individuals. You're going to want to use a free software. And my advice for that is basically DaVinci's Resolve, if you're on PC. That's a high-quality editing software. It's free. It's got a bunch of tools. I would recommend it. I used it in the past. If you're on something else, not quite sure what, Xbox has in terms of software, but I know there is stuff on there. If you're on mobile, something like CapCut. But yeah, you need that. And then you can also find plenty of alternatives online. So, next up, you kind of know what you're going to make content about, but you don't really know the specifics, I might say, hey, I want to be I just want to do gaming videos of Rec Room. But now you got to figure out, what am I making my videos specifically on? How can I make sure they get views? And so what you sort of have to think about here is, what's happening at the moment, I'll kind of explain this with personal experience here. My biggest, most successful video in Rec Room has been my Lily's Revenge video. It's gotten 180,000 views or something like that, and I'll tell you why this is so successful, in most part, is because there was a large demand in Rec Room of people playing it, and then also people wanting to find out, what the endings were. So a nice tip, if you're a gaming channel, is to look out what rooms are in hot, and see if you can do a video on that, Are they good, entertaining videos to make? Other content, if your news channel like BVR is my other example here, you need to be paying attention, what's happening in Rec Room, what updates are there, any kind of drama happening, whatever. You need to be sort of just informed, You can't go into making Rec Room content creation just I'll figure it out, you can, but odds are you'll get tops 100 subscribers. So, just put some thought into what you're making. So, let's say you've recorded your video, I'm not going to go into too much depth about, how you should be acting in your videos. it's all about you, you know. What should bring people to your channel specifically besides your content is really you, you know. But after that, you're going to make, you know, a thumbnail, tags for which people can kind of search up your video, and the title of your video. So, odds are, you guys would probably say, let's, people I can see here, show of hands, who would think that, you know, the content of the video or the video editing would be like the most important part of the video, you know? Yeah, I see most of the room here raising their hands. And I'll tell you, that's actually not really true. What's probably the most influential to people clicking on your video is going to be basically your thumbnail. Your thumbnail is going to be the majority of what people see. Think about, you know, if you're ever scrolling down YouTube, you're going to be scrolling down looking for a good video to watch, and the most eye-catching, entertaining video, thumbnail, you know, is what you're going to click. And so that and the title are both insanely important, because you may edit, you know, a really good video that you're proud of. You put hours of time into it. But in the end, if you didn't even, you know, get people to click on it, it's all for nothing, you know? I've found this to be my personal experience where I can feel like I made a good video, or I made, you know, an entertaining video, but it's all really for naught if you don't make a good thumbnail. Lastly, the tags. So, odds are, if you haven't started doing YouTube yet, you don't really know what these are. When you're making a video, you have the option to select tags, of which, when people search these up, they can point to your video. A lot of what can help your video do well is basically it being given to the YouTube algorithm. And basically, the two most important things about this, basically, are total view time and... what was I saying? Total view time and your tags. So, you know, I'll give you an example, just personal experience. If I'm doing a video on a VR horror game in Rec Room, I'll make my tags, you know, Rec Room VR, Rec Room Horror VR. And you really just sort of want to get, like, repetitive with these. It's almost tedious sometimes. But the more you put, and the more kind of possible things you can put, it's going to help you in the long run, you know? Alright, so you have all that stuff done, and you've published your first maybe couple of videos. And, you know, you're doing maybe well, maybe not. What needs to happen next is that you need to look at your videos, and you need to sort of realize how can you improve. So if you're looking at, you know, your video, and it has a click-through rate, for those of you who don't know, click-through rate's basically the percentage of people that click on your video when they see the thumbnail. If you have a low click-through rate, then you're going to have to improve your thumbnail, or maybe even the topic of your videos. If you have, you know, a low view duration, then maybe you need to make your videos more engaging, more, you know, attention-grabbing. You know, it's all these sort of, like, small things, which by looking at your video's analytics, you can really make a big impact on how people, you know, feel about your videos, how you feel about your videos, all that. And honestly, if you're gonna take like any big takeaway from today, I'd say the biggest one is probably that you need to sort of be looking at your content, seeing what, you know, people are thinking about your video, seeing what you're thinking about your video, and just improving on it. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna get very far with that. I've seen like plenty of like video creators who have, you know, channels, plenty of videos, but they never kind of improve. And so they're kind of stuck at the same, like, you know, 100 subscribers, usually less, and they never really seem to get out of it. Alright. And so, another thing I see often, is a lot of people have, you know, towards the beginning anyway, really, they upload a lot. It's, like, ridiculous, you know, they upload, like, a bunch of videos a day. But what I'll say is, I don't think that's really the best case, for two reasons. One is that if you're making a bunch of videos, you need to be making sure that, you know, people have the time or want to watch them, you know? If you post one really good video a day, people are a lot more likely to watch that than if you post 3 low-quality videos, you know? And so that's something I've like the most seen when people are like, hey, can you look at my channel? Or I just look at them out of curiosity, you know? And that's like one of the number one things I see. I wouldn't say it's the number one issue, but in the end, you really need to focus more on quality over quantity. And yeah, so I think that's all I have to say. Oh, actually, no, it's not. I have one more section. So let's say you got really kind of far in your YouTube journey. You've made it to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 public watch hours. Big number. But after that, that means that you're going to be able to monetize your YouTube channel. I'm not going to spend too much on this because it's pretty minor. But the best way that you can sort of optimize... Actually, no, this applies to everything. The best way that you can optimize your videos to making sure that people, like, you know, pay attention to them and stay on them as long as possible is you're going to want to make videos that are about 10-15 minutes. Of course, doing longer is totally fine, you know. My most successful videos like double that, but in general, that's going to be sort of like the peak of how much time people are willing to sink. And well, fun fact, typically the longer your videos are, the longer people are going to stay on them. So, just a little tidbit there to help you out. And, of course, for monetization, the longer people watch your videos, the more ads they watch, aka, the more money you're going to get. So, yeah. I think that's going to be all for what I have to say on that, and we're going to enter into the Q&A phase.